Good evening. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Planning and Zoning Board meeting for Tuesday, October 14th. Could we have the roll call, please?
Adrian Gomez. Jason Miller.
Here.
Maria Sutherland. Here. Dennis Morale.
Here.
Terrence Wills. Here. Sarah Pike.
Here.
All right, Board, you have the meeting minutes from July 8th. Everybody had a chance to look at those? If so, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes from July 12th.
8th.
July 8th, I'm sorry.
Motion's been made and seconded to approve the minutes. Call the roll.
Adrian Gomez. Jason Miller.
Yes.
Maria Sutherland. Yes. Dennis Morale. Yes. Terrence Wills. Sarah Pike.
Yes.
Very good. All right, tonight we have a couple of public hearing items. First one will be Resolution 2025-18. For resolution of the City of Avon Park, Florida, granting a variance of 19.3 feet from the required front yard building setback of 25 feet to allow a detached carport within a front yard on property zone R1A, low-density residential located at 217 North Verona Avenue, Avon Park, Florida. It's all you.
Oh, now it's on. Hello. I think we did send a PowerPoint. I don't know if it was able to load or not. Oh, okay, great. All right. Well, good evening already. I'm Jennifer Cota of Salisbury. I'm with the Central Florida Regional Planning Council. I think probably you usually see Stephanie or Jeff on our staff, but I'm here tonight to present the three cases before you. The first is the variance request at 217 North Verona Avenue. And the first thing I want to point out is we apologize. The map is incorrect. The actual site is a little further south. And I'm just kind of pointing. You can see the pool. It's at the corner of Circle and Verona Avenue. Yes, and that is the property. And I apologize for that. We're looking at the variance request. It's a corner lot. So in the city's land development code, when you have a corner lot, you actually have two front yard setbacks. The front yard setback on Verona Avenue and then also on Legrando Street I'm so sorry, Circle. I knew it was right, and then I looked at the map. I'm so sorry. But when the home was built, it respected both 25-foot setbacks from both road frontages. And the applicant is requesting a variance of 19.3 feet on that front yard setback, I believe on Circle Street. And this would allow for the carport to legally exist. And please keep in mind their address is on Verona, and they respect that front yard setback. And if we can go to the next slide. Basically, this just kind of reiterates what I said. The zoning is R1A, which has that 25-foot front yard setback. There is a detached carport that has been constructed in the front yard on Circle Street. And the request is for a variance, which would allow for a setback of 5.7 feet. And if we can go to the next slide. Okay, so this is the picture of the carport and the distance to the sidewalk. And again, it shows in the exhibit, which would be with the variance, the resolution showing the carport and then the 5.7 foot setback. So that would be the 19.3 foot variance there. And if we can go to the next slide. These are just some photos. Again, the home On Verona, there, which is where the address is, respects the front yard setback. And then this is the carport that was constructed. Again, that 5.7 foot setback would go into play if the resolution is approved. So for a variance, there are unique circumstances, and we can go to the next slide. And then in your packet, in the staff report, you'll note that the items there, that again, this is a corner lot, 2 front setbacks, but a lot of folks don't know that who have a corner lot, and the carport was constructed. And if we can go to the next slide. That's really the case. So I'm available for any questions, and the applicants are here as well.
All right, I'll open the public hearing. Randy?
Could I add just, excuse me, a little narrative to this case? Just a little background. This was not a, what we call a proactive case. This case resulted from a citizen complaint in the area that somebody was trying to do the same thing. And when I went out there, I explained to them that you cannot do that. So basically to that point where, well, how did the people down the road get to do it? They just erected a new carport a couple weeks ago. So that's how code enforcement ended up getting involved. Checked. Of course, there was no permit pulled. Spoke to the residents who have been stellar. I mean, as far as dealing with anybody in the city, probably some of the nicest people I've ever dealt with since I've been here. It was their story, which I truly believe, that they thought that the person that erected the building on the property was going to pull the permit, when in fact that did not happen. So therefore, that's how we got to this point. I truly believe it was an oversight. There was some kind of breakdown in communication. I don't believe if they had known that this was not allowed, they would have never done this. So I just wanted you to know, and it is, I'm quite honest, very well built. It's beautiful property, probably one of the prettiest houses in this city of Avon Park. And I personally have, I hope I can speak on behalf of the city, but have no issue at all with granting of the variance based on that criteria.
I have one question. So your mailing address is on Verona, correct? And that's what the 911, if you were to call 911, that's what would come up as Verona as your front address. Okay.
Hang on, Maria, they need to go to the microphone. Yeah, just state your name and address for the record, please.
Deborah Chavis. Well, I'm sorry, what was the question?
Address.
Oh, 217 North Verona Avenue.
So I was just wondering, in the past, do you know if ever there was any kind of a carport there that was removed and then reinstalled?
No, not to my knowledge.
So I have a question for Randy. What if they put up one of those little tarpy looking things? Would that require a permit? You know, those tarpy ones that people put up that look like playground shade structures?
You're not allowed in the city. They're allowed, but not for a carport purpose, no.
Okay. Well, I personally have no problem with this. I think it's beautiful. I drove by, but aside from that, because you have a corner lot, there's no other place for you to put a carport.
There is no other place.
It's either there or in the front yard, which would require you saw cutting the curb and getting up and doing a whole nother driveway.
And if I can just say, the Florida sun is brutal on our vehicles. Because of the sun, our vehicles have been sitting out in that driveway. I just had to have my car repainted in May. And my husband just recently bought a classic car that he has saved for the last 8 years to be able to buy. And before we had the carport, we had bought a car cover for the classic car. Well, after being under the car cover for a few days, when he took the car cover off, that heat between the car cover and the paint, he now has cloud spots on the hood of the car. So we were unable to use the car cover anymore. For us, that carport is very much a necessity.
Do you ever plan to enclose it?
Not that I know of, I don't think so. If we do, we will be pulling a permit to make sure we can do it. Yes, to make sure we can do it. But I mean, it's made quite a difference already just being able to park the two cars under there from the heat and everything.
I just have a question. The concrete that's underneath that carport, was it already there, or when you had the carport put in, did you pour concrete?
The driveway was already there.
Already there. Okay.
Yes. And like I said, I'm assuming we've been in the house for a little over 8 years. It was 8 years in May we bought it, the whole house. I'm just assuming that driveway's been there maybe 40, 50 years. Yeah. I don't know.
I have a question for Randy. To remain consistent, the other person or resident that complained because they wanted to do something similar, are they at all similar in their issue as compared to this? That this would set a precedent?
Completely similar. And they were given the information about a variance. They chose to go a different route though, and they were satisfied with it.
Okay.
But yes, I did go back and speak to them about it.
Okay.
That was the only thing I was worried about. Yeah. Was setting a precedent here.
Just listen to what was going on from the beginning. The permit itself, before y'all started constructing this, at any point in time, who talked about or possibly decided about maybe pulling the permit? Was it anybody?
My husband went down and picked out the carport because we wanted a hip roof. We wanted something that matched very nicely with the home. And then I am the one that went down and filled out the paperwork. So, I mean, I have to fall on the sword. My lack of knowledge and him assuming that the permit was included and that we had paid for it. When code enforcement came to the door knocking, that's when I pulled all our paperwork out that we had signed, and we did not pay for a permit. Okay. We were not charged for a permit.
Okay.
Did you install any electrical?
No, there's no electrical on it.
So it's just the structure itself.
Yes. We have floodlights, so motion floodlights and cameras. So when anybody comes to that, you'd have to go to our door because the carport is right close to the house too.
Yes, no, I'm familiar with where it's at.
Yeah, so we just have that. So if anybody comes, those floodlights come on. So we really don't. It's not necessary to have electricity to it or any lights.
Question to you, Randy. Moving forward, say they decide 6 months from now, hey, you know what? It won't be a bad idea to probably run electrical. Obviously, if this thing is granted, what issues will come out of it in regard to them pulling a permit for any further of a water spigot or electrical outlets out there for whatever case may be?
That actually, Adrian, that's what I was getting ready to say. If you grant this variance, I would hope with the caveat that they would have to go to permitting. They would have to come get a permit application from the city. They would have to fill it out. It would have to be, wouldn't have to be approved by CFRPC because they're here as part of the variance. The minutes from this would be attached to that. It would then be sent to the county to get the permit. They would have to pay the permitting fee to the county. They would have to provide engineered plans to the county, which I'm sure they have because most of those prefab houses have the engineered plans included. At that point, they would go out there and the county, we've done this before, anytime we catch something unpermitted, they do the right, well, most of the time they do the right thing. The county will go out, inspect it, we'll sign off on the permit, and then we're done. Now, as far as your question there, they would have to, that would be an electrical permit that they would have to pull, but that would be a legal permit because you're deeming the structure legal, so there wouldn't be any issue at all if they wanted to do that, as long as they pulled a permit.
We don't have any reason for electrical out there, do we? No. It's close enough to our house. We have electrical there, and the water is right there at the house. So,
Okay. I've got nothing else.
Anybody got any further questions?
I'm good.
I'll close the public hearing. Board, what's your pleasure?
I like it. I think that it fits. It matches the house. It's well done. And if we're going to be doing them on a case-by-case basis, I see no reason to hold this one up.
Very good.
I agree.
I'll entertain a motion.
I move that the Planning and Zoning Board approve Resolution 2025-18.
I second it.
Motion made and seconded. We call the roll, please.
Adrian Damas,
Yes.
Jason Miller,
Yes.
Maria Sutherland,
Yes.
Dennis Morale,
Yes.
Terrence Wills, Sarah Patton.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. All right, public hearing number 2. Comprehensive Plan Text Amendments.
Okay. Once again, Jennifer Cotto Salisbury with the Central Florida Regional Planning Council. And I left my slides at home, so I'm going to look to the right over here. There's 2 amendments in this package. The first is an amendment to the comprehensive plan, which is our umbrella document in the city. It kind of is the city's master plan. It tells the maximum potential density you can have on a parcel, and then also the intensity, like how big the biggest building you can have on a property. Then under that is the zoning, and the zoning tells you how many units you can have per acre, what is your lot size, what are your setbacks, to front yards, for example. For non-residential, it tells you how many parking spaces, things like that. So this amendment, there are 2. One is to that umbrella document, the comprehensive plan, and then the second is to the land development code. We have a future land use in the city's comprehensive plan, and if we can go to the next slide. It's downtown commercial, and that commercial future land use allows up to 16 units per acre. So when you're talking 16 units an acre, that's a multifamily product. And then the C4 zoning falls under that, C4 mixed use. And there's a big gap there between the umbrella and the zoning. The zoning allows 4 units an acre. So that's a big gap between the maximum potential land use and then what you can do in the zoning. And this applies in the downtown area. So Main Street, for example. So today, even though we have that umbrella downtown mixed use, it's 16 units an acre. The most that folks can have is about 4 units an acre. So the application is city initiated, but what we would be looking at, if we could go to the next slide, please, would be amending the future land use, that downtown mixed use, to actually a higher density, up to 40 units an acre. And that's really consistent with other cities, including, for example, the city of Sebring. And then the caveat is to get higher than 16 units an acre, you'd have to do a plan development, so very detailed plans. Also, the proposed amendment is to bring that C4 zoning under that downtown mixed use to a greater density of 16 dwelling units per acre. So really looking at the downtown area, right now we're kind of limited to 4 units an acre. This would allow a bigger umbrella of up to 40 units an acre, but that would have to be with a planned unit development. And if we can go to the next slide, this just kind of captures what that looks like. So with the zoning, if you had a half-acre lot with the increased density, a half acre would actually allow you 8 dwelling units. If you had an acre, 16 units. And then if you had 2 acres, for example, it'd be 32 units. For that umbrella land use, again, if you had 2 acres, the potential would be up to 80 units. But if we can go to the next slide, this really allows for kind of greater opportunities in the downtown area. A lot of thriving downtowns that we see do have higher densities. When we looked at Lakeland, they have about 75 units an acre. Again, Sebring has 40, Haines City has 30. But it just allows greater potential. That doesn't mean that when somebody comes in for a zoning change to plan development, that you have to allow that 40 units an acre, but it just gives you greater flexibility. Right now with the C4, 4 units an acre may not work with a pro forma, for example, or where you may have greater opportunities downtown for more units. It's hard to achieve. This is the actual text in the package, which shows what we're doing in the future land use element. Policy 1.6 is proposed to be amended. It would allow permissible uses include low-intensity retail, professional offices, financial institutions, restaurants, single-family attached units, multifamily residential, including apartments, and above ground floor apartments. So again, really that's already in the code, but just being a little clearer. And then again, the maximum density allows for 16 units per acre, but if you want to go more than that as an applicant, you would have to do a planned unit development. And y'all I know are familiar with those, but that actually walks with a binding site plan and conditions of approval. And then we're also doing a little bit of housekeeping in the land development code in the table of uses. So right now we have residential units above businesses, and we're actually just changing the terminology to above ground floor apartments. Nothing's changing as far as what's allowed. We're just actually doing like a relabel on that. And then in the density and dimensions table for the C4, if it was approved, instead of 4 units an acre, it would show 16 units an acre. And then the planned unit development, we'd have a notation in the table that says any densities greater than 16 units an acre require rezoning to planned unit development. And then the next slide. In the land development code, again, really just setting forth that, clarifying that planned unit developments do not have a minimum size. We found in downtown areas, some codes have a minimum of a 5-acre parcel, but a lot of your innovation in redevelopment and infill development comes with smaller properties, and that minimum of 5 acres can really be challenging. And actually that is the overview. So if everyone is totally confused, stop me. But basically we'd be looking at a higher density downtown from 16 units an acre to 40 units an acre, and then that underlying zoning allowing, again, a mechanism to get to the potential 40 units an acre.
Very good.
Thank you.
I'll open the public hearing. Is there any discussion from the board?
So the dormitories are a different category, really, and how those are reviewed. If we can go back a few slides, please. I'm sorry, I did not bring a clicker. Okay, stop. Oh, sorry. What? There you go. Perfect. Thank you. It's like the magic wand. So boarding houses are a permitted use up until C4. Apartment units are allowed as well, but I really would have to go back and look at that. I think it would really depend on what the city attorney and how they look at that.
But that would be that would not be part of this.
That was not the intent. I would certainly talk to the city attorney, but this was really the intent for multifamily, like apartments or condominiums or garden apartments, things like that.
So should that be specified so that that's the purpose? Because, things seem to get misconstrued sometimes and gray areas seem to be abused. And if it's concise and direct, then it would be exactly what you're proposing.
Yep, you could certainly make a motion to that effect, and we would reflect that, and we would just, check with the city attorney as it goes before city council, but letting them know that that's the recommendation.
Wouldn't dorms really fall under like a boarding house almost?
Well, yeah, but
Not exactly.
yeah. Because boarding houses, don't those have to have a permanent resident in there babysitting the people living in there? And
Yeah, it depends how they're written.
Yeah.
I don't know that your code is really detailed on that. I know over the years it's always been a conversation.
And if it was a dorm that would probably have enough units, it would be a PUD.
right, they'd still have to have a
Yeah.
special consideration.
Right.
Could I add something?
Sure.
Just so you know, I'm not Jessica Carlson, but I can tell you that this impact, if you did move this forward with a recommendation, I can think of 5 properties within probably a 4-block radius downtown that it would affect. You have the I think it's Mr. Santa, I believe the building where by the tap room, the 2-story that they're putting the new restaurant there. You have the proposed new building on the lot that the city just sold. You have the Fern and Fern building, which is at the corner of Lake and Main Street, the old bank. You have the current building, I think it's 101 East Main Street, that has a 2nd floor and has some apartments up there. You also have the Guelph building that's sat vacant for a long time at the corner of Lake and West Main Street. So within that certain area, this could affect all 5 of them. And I started thinking about just the college. I think Ms. Sutherland mentioned dormitories and all that. They don't have dorms at the college. What a great way to increase like efficiency apartments or whatever for students that come here instead of go to Sebring to get their where they're going to live, basically off campus housing, but not dormitories. But I mean, these could function at 200, 250, whatever the minimum square footage is. This could add a lot of young foot traffic and all that to the downtown area that seems to be starting to blossom. I think this would further enhance that. Just my 2 cents.
Anybody else got anything? I'll close the public hearing. Entertain a motion.
I make a motion. Let me find the specific language because you do it so well, Jennifer. What page was that on?
2.
2. I can't read with my reading glasses. Okay, I move the Planning and Zoning Board forward the proposed text amendments to the comprehensive plan to the City Council with a recommendation of approval and special emphasis on designating a difference between this and boarding facilities.
So if y'all don't mind, I'll just jump in and ask, that was perfect. It would be a motion to recommend approval with changes with the consideration of dormitories and boarding houses.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry.
But I will second it because I can't repeat that.
We got a motion made and seconded. We call the roll.
The easy part.
Adrian Gomez,
Yes.
Jason Miller,
Yes.
Lori Sutherland,
Yes.
Dennis Morale,
Yes.
Terrence Wills,
have to abstain since several of my buildings are involved in this variance change.
Motion still passed.
So I'm not allowed to speak.
Now we also have the Unified Land Development Code text amendment that goes with that. Do we need to open a separate hearing for that too?
Yes.
All right, we'll open the public hearing for the Unified Land Development Code text amendments. Anybody got any questions? I'll close the public hearing. Do I have a motion?
Same motion.
Same motion, so sounds good. That's the same motion you want? Maria?
Yes, that's perfect.
Very
Yes.
good. We'll call a roll.
Adrian Gomez. Jason Miller.
Yes.
Maria Sutherland.
Yes.
Dennis Morale.
Yes.
Terrence Wills. Sarah Patrick.
I will abstain from this one as well.
Thank you very much. All right, our last item.
If we can go a little bit forward.
Is the 10-year water facility maintenance plan.
All right. Well, at the state level, this is required every so many years. Each jurisdiction works to update its 10-year water supply plan. Really, that looks at the city's water supply and the population projections and water capacity out for the next 10 years. In this plan update, I believe we look to the year 2040, but this is required by chapters 163 and 373 of Florida statutes. And it comes about the Water Management District has a regional water supply plan that they update periodically. And then we're required by Florida statutes to look at our water supply plan and provide any updates. So if we can go to the next slide. Beautiful photo of Avon Park. But really, again, we just looked at our population projections, and that used to be a point of contention with local governments and the Water Management District. So now the Water Management District works with us and then provides what those projections are, which we'll talk about in a minute. If we can go to the next slide. So kind of looking at where we are in the southern water use caution area, and many moons ago, the Water Management District and the communities came together and said, we really need to look at an adopted level of service less than 150 gallons per person per day. And the city has done well and adopted a level of service of 120 gallons per capita per day. So hopefully as one person, I don't use more than that in a day. The city has over 8,473 connections to water to provide potable water, and our permitted withdrawal through November 2029 is a little over 2.3 million gallons per capita per day, so enough water to serve the population. And our current daily demand is about 2.15 million gallons per capita per day. Or per day, not per capita. Each person does not use that. Our whole service population will use that. So as we take a look at the 5-year water demand going from 2020 to 2024, we do see an increase in usage. We were at 91 gallons per capita per day, so I was only using 91 gallons a day. And now we're at 102 gallons per person per day. But overall, 95 gallons per day per person, which is well under that adopted level of service. And we can go to the next slide. So if we look at our population projections, this really includes our permanent population, our seasonal, and also commuters. The Water Management District figures that in. If I come here to work, they figure out I'm going to use a certain amount of water. But overall, we show an increase. I did the math. It's a little over 900 connections estimated to the year 2040. And then the next slide. So if you take a look at this bar chart, it has all the data that we look at and consider. But the real important line is the one that's highlighted in green. And it shows in the year 2040, the city will still have a surplus, will be on the positive side of the amount of water that we're allowed to have. But we will be using almost 94% of the water that we're permitted to use. So this is a moment in time in the year 2025, and the city continuously updates its permitting, but is well on track to continue potable water supply for the population. And when you look at your plan amendments, you'll see that there are already policies in the city to work to conserve water, really look at opportunities for Florida-friendly plantings, which absorb less water, and also looking at low-flow plumbing fixtures. A lot of times in building departments, there'll be information to the public, and then also auditing the overall system for leaks and repairs. And I'm sorry, go back real quick. I apologize. I know Jeff had added that reclaim alternative opportunities for water through Avon Park and Polk County, Nucor. Potentially, there's potential reuse project to supply water there. I know that's identified in the regional water supply plan, but I don't know if anything has happened with that. And then the next slide basically just kind of captures what I just mentioned, which is in your water supply plan. But basically, we're in good shape. And next slide. The amendments, so you'll see the whole water supply plan in your package. And then the amendments to infrastructure, conservation, intergovernmental coordination, and capital improvements. But these are minor. You'll only see a few words change here and there. Some updating the time frame, but really just keeping us consistent with state statute. And I think really that's it. One more slide. Yep, that is the overall presentation. That is about as exciting as I can make it, except that we will all still be able to drink water in the year 2040. Clean, potable water.
I'll open the public hearing. Does anybody have any questions?
Yes, I do, because the numbers are not making sense to me. So, from 2020 we're in 2025 to 24, you're saying hookups, there's only going to be 900 hookups during that time period?
Can we go back just a few slides? I apologize.
And is that a hookup to the whole community, or is that individual houses?
So that's kind of our functional population. It's an estimate from the Water Management District. It could be a lot more. It could be less.
It's going to be a lot more. These numbers are way off, because we just approved a new development right up the street for 800 new homes just for that. So we're going to use that up in the next couple of years alone, not all the way through 2040. So my question is, what happens if we're way off on the numbers? Are we going to run out of water? Because you're saying by 2040, you're going to be at 94% capacity. So if you have to triple those numbers, because those numbers are way off, especially since even in the past 3 years, we're no longer just a snowbird community, but more younger families are coming in. So instead of having just 2 people living in a home, you're getting 4 and 5 people living in a home. Those numbers are, I know my sons take an hour-long shower. So, and I have sons. I don't even have daughters. So
they're using up their
so
120.
what happens, going
Yeah.
past, over the next 5 years, let's say, and they finish building 800 units, there goes on 900 down.
So I will say that the city keeps a constant pulse on this and also has consumptive use permits with the water management district. And there are annual reports to the water management district to make sure that we don't run out of water. This is just a planning document, but with your motion tonight, it doesn't impact the policies before you. But what we'll do is add those developments that have been approved as part of the report. We are required to use their numbers, but we certainly can add in like the recent approvals in the city, so that's reflected.
So my question is still, if we go above that and we're almost at 100% capacity, where do we get water from?
So kind of back to you can update and renew and ask for increases in your permitting for water. And as you grow, you'll see that with your consumptive use permits as well. So this is just a planning document. It's not your permit document. Does that help? Kind of look at
the capacity fees would pay for that. I mean, once you start reaching to where you're at capacity, all the new developments would have to pay for capacity fees, which will get set aside for new infrastructure to expand the capacity. Capacity fees, impact fees, I don't know what you call them anymore, but either way, that funding would go towards the infrastructure that's going to build out additional capacity in our system. I believe all our water is well water anyway. We don't have reuse and we don't have gray use. It's just the infrastructure is not there. So I don't know when we're going to ever have reuse water for irrigation and things.
And wouldn't some of that offset though by people that leave the area? I mean, not to the extent we're talking like 800, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
there would be an offset somewhere.
From what I've seen in the past 4 years, not many people are leaving.
Well, but we do have a lot of deaths, so there's a
Yeah.
lot of in-migration filling in the spots of those that died. There's not a lot of out-migration, but there is quite a bit of in. But it does balance out. I had a question, Jennifer. You know what's going on in Polk County with the consortium of all the cities having to pay into that system that if they don't pay, they're going to pay big time later on. Do you foresee that happening here? With this kind of starting a regional water preservation board of some kind that's county-wide, and we would lose out because we have a smaller population than the county, so to speak? Because if we have intergovernmental coordination, that's how it started in Polk.
I can't answer that. I'm not sure.
No, I guess what I'm getting
Yeah.
at is, in terms of digging new wells, I mean, I know ag is kind of slowing down and we're doing more development, but you still need wells. And we drink well water here, so I'm just wondering if at some point we're going to end up having to have some regional water board similar to Polk County. I'm sure Melissa can explain this one as well because she's been in Fort Meade all this time, but Fort Meade was a holdout. I believe Lake Wales was a holdout. But Lakeland and all the bigger cities are going to control all the water for the smaller cities, and if you don't get into this consortium, you're going to pay big time later on. And I just don't know if this is going to lead to that in some way where we're going to have to pay money somewhere to drink water.
I think that might be better addressed by the water management district. I will say our population growth is a lot lower here. Polk is one of the fastest growing counties in the country. I mean, I know you're their neighbor, but I would ask if the city wants to have a presentation from the water management district as they're working and looking at our overall regional supply.
Thank you.
Anybody have anything else?
No, I don't have anything.
I'll close the public hearing. I'll entertain a motion.
I can never find the page. I move the Planning and Zoning Board forward the proposed text amendments to the comprehensive plan to the City Council with a recommendation of approval.
Motion's been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and second. Call roll. Yes.
Maria Sutherland,
Yes.
Dennis Morrow,
Yes.
Terrence Wills, Sarah Piper.
Yes.
Very good. Thank you very much, Jennifer. Appreciate it. Does anybody have anything else? I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Very good.